What's going on, guys? We'll get started here in a few minutes. Hey, Josh, what's going on, man? Always good to see you in here. Hey, Optimus. Oh, is that Patrick? What's going on, man? Let me show you guys my screen. We'll get started here. Gonna be a short stream, probably gonna keep it around an hour, maybe a little bit less. Um, Short little recap on kind of the trades that I took recently. We actually just closed up one of our trades here, very nice profit. right before stream. If you guys are in the Discord, it was a very, very good trade. I won't say very, very good because we did take a lot of drawdown, but I knew the drawdown was bullshit, so we held on to it and we closed it for a very nice profit. But this was the Interdax trade that I posted in Discord way back on March 24th, I believe. Let me confirm that on Discord. It was on Tuesday. So when was Tuesday? Yeah, 24th. So I posted that on March 24th. We entered at 6,600. I took a 10x short on my Interdax account because what I was doing was I was going to take one more big trade on Interdax, then I was going to move my funds over to my Coinbase account. I'm trying to consolidate a lot of my crypto. Since before the major dump, I had crypto in like 4 different wallets on 4 different exchanges, and it was just all spread out. And when I took that massive loss on my main account, I'm trying to build my main account back up. So I'm consolidating my smaller accounts, building them into a bigger account. So I'm consolidating them all into my Coinbase account. So what I did was I took a big trade on Interdax. I just kind of Hail Married it. It looked like a really good setup. So I said, hey, whatever. I took a 10x trade and I let it play out. We were looking for a retrace down towards this lower level. I almost took profit earlier today and yesterday when we started accumulating a little early. I hate when it does this. When I'm in trades, it always tempts me to take profit and not follow my plan, because it will do stuff like this where it will get really close to my target and then it will accumulate, or it will get close to my target and then it will like distribute. And I always have to think to myself, like, okay, am I going to take profit here or am I going to hold on to it a little bit longer? This one, I said, I'm just going to hold on to it. We came this far. I followed the indicators like I've been telling myself to do. I need to keep at it with paying attention to the indicators and make sure I'm following the signals on the indicators. And I was looking at all the time frames on like the mid macros, the 1 hour, the 4 hour, whatever, and they were all really bearish. So we saw like a little bit of buy pressure come in around that accumulation, but it didn't last long. So the TIE was very bearish. The market sentiment was very bearish. The Momo, the OTS, everything, it was very bearish. So I said, just go ahead and hold on to it. We held on to it a little bit longer, and we closed it right on our target, basically. So that was an overall 110, 115% gain on our account. So we basically doubled our account in one trade, which I'm very happy with. And then I sent the funds over to my Coinbase. They're actually on the way right now. So right now my Interdax is closed. I don't have any money in there. I still have one BitMEX account and a Coinbase account. So I still have 3 accounts, or actually 2 accounts, because I've got the BitMEX and the Coinbase. The Interdax is closed now. So I'm down to 2 accounts on crypto. I'm trying to consolidate. I'll probably use that BitMEX account that I still have if I ever get back into like day trading crypto. But for right now, I'm just trading like the daily on crypto. Sometimes like 1 hour, 4 hour, but not too actively. I'm still just doing more swing trades, and it's going well. Not only on my Interdax account, but on my Coinbase account, I cashed out of the entire account at 6,600. So we are 100% in USDC from 6,600. So we are looking at a pretty good gain already. We're already up about 10% in Bitcoin value if I were to buy back right now. So looking really good on that. I'm looking to buy back more towards like 5,000, maybe a retest of these lower levels, or if we get another kind of buy signal. But for right now, I'm sitting in USDC. Yeah, those are my crypto trades that I took recently. I went over my stock trades yesterday, but I can give a quick recap on my stock trades for you guys who weren't here yesterday. Will said, does Coinbase have leverage available? Yeah, I think they do, but I don't leverage trade. I've just been cashing out and buying it back, basically. It's my Coinbase account has always been my like second largest account. I have my trading account, and then I have my Coinbase account as like my savings, if you will. It's the account that I hold on to for long periods of time, where I'll hold on to Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever I'm trading. I'll hold on to it for like a week or two, and then I'll sell it, and then I'll rebuy it, and I just rinse and repeat. And I've always done that on Coinbase. I don't know, no real reason. I feel comfortable holding on to my money on Coinbase. But yeah, that's what I use Coinbase for. It's more of like my longer term holdings. But now that my BitMEX account got destroyed during the dump, I'm building it back. I think it does have margin assassin because when I'm on my Coinbase, it does tell me that I can apply for margin and apply for margin trading. I haven't done that yet though. But yeah, so if you guys weren't here yesterday, I'll go over my trades that I took last week with my new options strategy. That's what I'm focusing mainly on right now is stock and options trading. Like I said yesterday, I'm tired of like jumping into options and not really giving it the time of day and really taking the time to build a strategy and give it some time to live test. And I just constantly was shifting strategies here, like to the different strategies. But now I've finally kind of developed my own strategy that I want to test out for at least another couple of weeks. So I tested that. I started it last week. We had about an 80% strike rate, doing very, very well. The only trade that we lost was the Snapchat trade, and we broke even on a Roku trade. The GameStop trade we did lose, but it wasn't a part of the full strategy. We weren't able to fully implement the strategy in GameStop. We lost about 20% on that one. But yeah, I'll go over the trades real quickly. Just a small recap of what we did yesterday. But I took a short on GameStop. I was looking for, or no, sorry, I took a long on GameStop. I was looking for it to stay above $4, I believe it was. $4. Yeah, it was $4. And then it kind of nuked downward, and then it retraced, and I cut it on the retrace. So that was one of our trades. Roku, I took a spread on Roku. We were looking for it to stay below 90, also stay below 85, but I closed that break even, and then I flipped it to a bullish trade. So I wanted to stay above 85 and below 90. So we were playing a little bit of a range. It did exactly what we wanted, but I closed this one break even, sadly. So we didn't take profit on that one. We could have taken 100% profit. We did take 88% profit on our 90 short. That was very good. And then Snapchat, this was our losing trade. I shorted 950. I was looking for a short on this gap. I wanted it to fill this gap and then fail downward, but it just kept running. So we took the max loss on Snapchat. But because I had such a really good credit, I took a $65 credit per contract. My max loss was $35 per contract, so we didn't take a massive loss on that. And then, yeah, that was all the trades. I took a trade on Ford as well. It was it a short, I believe? Yeah, I was shorting Ford. 463 was my break even, and obviously we took pretty much full profit on that. So very good on options last week. Looking to start fresh on options this week, starting Monday. So if you guys are in the Discord, look out for my trades. I'm looking to build some new trades tomorrow. Dima said, yeah, they offered to apply, but it's in a waiting... Oh, okay, it's in a waiting list, so it's not fully there yet. Gotcha. Will said, been hearing rumors of BitMEX KYC. I did see that, and that's why a lot of my money's on Coinbase right now. I barely have any money on BitMEX right now. If they do go the KYC route, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'll probably switch to maybe Bybit, maybe Deribit. There's plenty of exchanges out there that I could switch to. Like I said, I haven't been actively trading crypto lately. I'm just more swing trading crypto. I've been very active trading options and stocks. So if you guys are in the Discord, what I've been doing is I wake up around like 8:30, 9 o'clock. I hop on. I tell you guys what I'm watching and what trades I'm looking at. And I'm in voice chat basically through the entire trading day. I take a little bit of a break around lunchtime to get some food, depending on how active the market is. And then, yeah, we just trade basically the whole day. And we're planning on doing that for the next at least 2 to 3 weeks, probably. So if you guys are into options trading or stock trading, feel free to join me. Kraken is US regulated, but I dislike their interface. I've never used Kraken. It's funny, I've never really heard anything good about Kraken. The only comments I've ever heard about Kraken are bad. Dima said, consider Bybit. They're amazing and just implemented USDT pairs with cool features for hedging. Yeah, I've seen Bybit. I tried them out a little bit way back when. I like their setup. I like their system. I don't like their team really. Their team just goes about their like referral system and their marketing just a little too pushy for me. Yeah, if you guys were in the Discord earlier today, not only did we call out those trades that I took way back on last week, I also posted a bunch of analysis earlier today. I was telling you guys that we were failing VWAP, we were failing the 200 EMA here. I let you guys know when it started to break down. That was around 6,000. I also told you guys that the daily was failing the 12 moving average here. You can see that little flip of the 12. I told you that it was holding that support, but once you lost that 4-hour support, you were looking really weak. I marked out that level that we were watching, that around 58.50. We pretty much got tested pretty much perfectly. That was on the 3-hour. If you marked that same level on the 4-hour, we did get tested. So that's that 4-hour level. That's where I closed, was on that 4-hour level. If you had it marked on the 3-hour, it was slightly off. So here's the 3-hour. It's just slightly off. It perfectly tests the 4-hour. It misses the 3-hour a little bit. Beautiful test so far. It looks like you could form a little bit of a bull div here. We can take a look at the indicators. Yeah, you actually do have a slight bull div coming in already. Typically, when you have that falling pattern like that, that's typically when you see the divs. We can take a look at the 4-hour. I don't believe, no div on the 4-hour. You did fail that pivot. We also talked about a lot of this stuff in the weekly write-up, so if you guys are in the Discord, make sure you check out the weekly write-up. I posted it around 3 p.m. today, right before Bitcoin started to fail, and I basically said in the write-up that there was no reason to be bullish. Until the indicators told you to be bullish, there was no reason to be bullish. If you guys are using the 1-hour trail on the OTS, you can see the most recent sell signals were all beautiful. You had a couple of fake outs when we started to pump up on that last little breakout, but on the trend downward, they gave you 3 beautiful entries on the way down. Right now, you do see a little bit of a 15-minute pivot coming in. No bull div just yet. You are trying to get back above that 12 moving average, but no momentum. Let's take a look at the futures, excuse me, on the stock market. Futures did gap down here. Did have a little bit of a gap down to 3%, actually. Pretty big gap down on futures, but you are retracing already. So 3% gap down. This is going to look really good for our puts. I am in some SPY puts already. I'm looking to pick up some more SPY puts if we do push higher. This is going to look pretty good on our puts, though, when we open up tomorrow. Same thing on oil. Oil futures are gapping down as well, and gold is gapping up. So everything that we said in the write-up is playing out perfectly. So make sure you guys, if you guys have not read that already, to go check that out. We were bearish on oil, bullish on gold, bearish on SPY. 3 for 3 so far. And we were bearish on Bitcoin, so 4 for 4. Beautiful confirmation. That's basically all I have for you guys for the updates. We can take a look at the live market here, kind of see what's going on. You have a little bit of accumulation coming in on the low time frames. You got about, let me see, you're slightly above the mid-range. Depending on if you take the wicks of the bodies. Yeah, you're slightly above the mid-range on the bodies. You could take the wicks if you want. Take these lower wicks and the upper wicks, and you are still slightly above that 50%. You do have a red cloud coming in on the 15. Or sorry, the 5 minute. The 15 red cloud, but it's very far away from price. Dima said, should we pay attention to silver? It has way more space to grow up compared to gold. I typically don't pay attention to silver. It seems like it does basically what gold does, and gold is a much wider market. So I typically pay attention to gold. Silver, it's actually funny. They're usually almost exactly correlated. They have not been correlated recently. Like if you look at silver here, silver plummeted, and then look at gold. Gold plummeted, but it recovered basically back to where it failed. Once again, look at silver. We're nowhere near retracing all the way back to where we failed. Gold has basically already retraced. So typically they're correlated, but silver is a little weaker than gold here. Yeah, the weekly we got very choppy on gold. Way more choppy than you typically see gold. You can see on the weekly you're choppy, but it's over a longer period of time. It's not back to back like we saw that in early 2020. And then if you look at that on silver, it's very similar. You got very choppy, but then you just nuked. So same thing like I was saying on gold, or their correlation. Gold is basically retraced already. So I think what you're asking is take a look at silver here, because if it follows gold, it's kind of lagging behind gold. So you can get in silver and kind of use gold as like your future prediction, right? So I see what you're saying. Silver could retrace at least probably 13 to 20% if you are following gold. Gold's kind of giving you that foresight. But yeah, gold is looking really good. I think gold is going to break into new highs probably this week or next week. Very low volume on the futures lately, though. Beautiful gap up here. He said, I actually meant really historically compared to all-time high. Yeah, so probably the same thing. We can take a look at the all-time highs. Gold is pretty much already back to that 2010, 2012 high that it had. We can take a look at silver. Yeah, silver is nowhere near its highs. So I do see what you're saying. But this is why I like gold more, because overall, you can use that mindset that you're talking about where you have a long way to go to your all-time high. But my mindset is if you want to trade commodities like silver and gold, how long are you going to play with silver when it's just ranging and being bearish, when you could just play with gold and it's being exceptionally bullish? This is just a much easier trade to me. It's trending nicely upward. You're already getting back to your prior highs on 2020. You might have a little bit of a resistance coming in for the next few months if you do want to fail the high. But if you start breaking this high, this is going to be a much better trade than silver. But your mindset is, if you miss the gold trade, pay attention to silver, because if silver does what gold did, you're going to have a wide range. Hey, JMA. JMA, it's so funny, dude. You win that slot machine more than anybody I've ever seen. It's so funny. I have not had somebody win that on a sub in weeks. The luckiest man in the channel. But yeah, so if silver retraces, you have like 100, 150% to go, but that's not the kind of mindset that I typically use. I don't try to predict stuff like that. I want to see it happening, right? If silver starts to break above the cloud on the monthly, and you start to break above these highs around $18, that's when I would pay attention to silver and start predicting that kind of run up to like 28, maybe 34, and then around like 40, right? But until that gets back above and puts in that higher low, this is a very ugly pattern to get stuck in. This could consolidate for another couple of years. You never know. Excuse me, you never know. Jesus. Need some water, man. 2 in a row. Yeah, dude, you're nuts. You are nuts, man. He said, do I close my Bitcoin short now or at 52? So I'm holding two. Well, I'm not holding two shorts. I was in two shorts, JMA. I talked about them in the Discord. I shorted 6,600 on both my accounts. One was a 10x short. One's just a cash short. I just closed my leverage short. So I'm still holding my cash short, and I'm looking for about that same level you're looking at, kind of like low fives. But I closed my leverage trade here because I think we will bounce, and I don't want to give up all my profits on my leverage trade if we do bounce very hard. I think we will bounce here, maybe a little bit. I think we're still going to fail like 61, though. I couldn't see it getting back above like 61 or 62. We'll have to see the kind of volume that comes in. But it depends on what kind of trade you have going on. If you have like a low leverage trade, it's probably worth it to keep it open. If it's a high leverage trade, I already closed mine because I think it's a little dangerous. There is no bullish momentum, though. I talked about it in the write-up. There's like no reason to be bullish here. Like, look at the daily, the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the 15 minute. There's no bullish strength here. So, to be honest, I could have held my 10x short all the way down. We do have a little bit of accumulation coming in, but I wouldn't be too worried until you get back above that 200 EMA. I've been using the 200 EMA as my trail. Not as like a hard trail, but as like a mental trail for my leverage trade all the way down. And we had a couple of little breaks of it back here, but you never put in a higher low above that 200 EMA. So I held my short all the way down. I was watching the 5-minute 200 just push this all the way down. So you'll probably consolidate, or you'll probably bounce up into the 200. But until we start to flip that 200, there's no reason this will not keep going down. You know what I mean? It's just going to keep going. You said Kraken only lets me 5x of the most. Yeah, I typically don't trade anything over that. But my Interdax trade was, it was a smaller account. I wanted to take one more big trade before I took my funds off the account. So I went ahead and just 10x'd it. I was actually looking pretty bad. I was down 50%. Because I took the short around 6,600 during this high, and then we broke up to like 69, almost 7,000. So I was down about 60%, but we held on to it, and it failed downward. 4 hour red Kumo coming in. It helps that I wasn't really watching the market. I was taking a look at Bitcoin every now and then to post analysis in Discord, but I haven't been like paying attention to Bitcoin 24/7 like I used to. Dima said 2 last weeks after the gap down in the S&P 500, Bitcoin just dumped down right after. Yeah, it's been correlating with the SPY pretty strongly. It's had its strongest correlation with the SPY in the past couple of weeks. Yeah, it was a big yikes, JMA. Thankfully, I wasn't paying attention to it. Will said, do you think that dump to 3,800 was the final capitulation? It's hard to say because I think the stock market has lower to go. I think we will see sub 200 on the SPY. Until the cases start to go down in the United States, until we start to see the just the everyday life of America get back to the way where it should be, the market is going to continue to go lower. We're going to see the occasional relief bounces like we saw in the stimulus bill. They'll probably institute some other kind of support that will come in and help the market. They do have the repos coming in where the Fed is coming in and buying up a shit ton of the market. It's just not enough, man. They're putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, you know what I mean? Like a big, big bullet wound. So I don't think the market's going to recover anytime soon. And because Bitcoin is so correlated with the market, we can't say that Bitcoin's going to correlate or going to recover anytime soon. You see what I'm saying? As long as it's correlated with the stock market and the stock market continues to fall, there's no reason Bitcoin's going to rise. And this setup here on the daily, this like bear flag, typically what you'll see during stuff like this is it will retrace towards like the lower mean, right? So you have like a lower accumulation before you started to kind of bear flag upwards. Now that that bear flag is failing downward, there's really no reason it should find support here. You might have like a local bounce, but there's no reason it should find support here. Especially with this kind of volume. Look at the volume. There's no massive buyers stepping in here. So there's no real reason for it to bounce right here. But looking at 3,800, as you said, that failure, it's really hard to predict that it will go lower than that right now. I think we'll go lower than we are here, but it's hard to predict if it's going to break this lower support. We might see something like we saw back in like 2018. I think it was 2018, 2019. Like we saw right here. We saw that first capitulation, that massive nuke. And then we saw a bull div and then a recovery. We might see something like that, where you see that massive nuke, maybe a bull div, and then a recovery. Hey, Fabio, what's going on, man? JMA said, I'm just aiming for the blue pivot on the trading suite. That's exactly what I called out in the Discord as well. It's a perfect level. Where is it right here? On the daily. It's a perfect level. That 5,100. I think you also have a 4-hour pivot somewhere down. No, you don't have a 4-hour pivot. I saw another pivot down there. It was a 3-hour. Yeah, 3-hour. You have a pivot right there on the lows as well. And then the 1-hour has a couple of pivots. There's a lot of pivots in that same range. But I love that daily pivot. I think it's a perfect level. Fuck it, I'm keeping it open. Honestly, man, on a longer time scale, I don't see why to close it. Like in hindsight, if it bounces, you're going to beat yourself up like, oh shit, I should have closed it. I can see like the short-term bounce. There's like a 1-hour bull div. Looking at it on a daily, looking at it on like a 4-hour, I don't see a reason to close shorts here. You do have a support. You're bouncing off that level that I marked. That is the scariest part about this trade. And that's where I closed my high leverage short. Is that 4-hour level. It's not common that these types of levels like completely shift the trend when you're seeing them in like a big head and shoulders. But it is a strong support. So we do see a strong support. You don't know what it could turn into. You have a small bull div on the 1-hour, and then you have a strong support on the 4-hour. So I can definitely see a bounce, maybe to 62, maybe to 61. But everything on my indicators is telling me bearish. Ichimoku, moving averages, trading suite, Momo, everything is bearish. So if it's significantly bounced here, I would be shocked. The next level I'm watching for my cash short is like the range high. So you have like the point of origins, these 2 point of origins down here, and then like the range high. These are the main levels I'm watching. I don't think the range high is going to hold for very long because you will be sweeping this low. And typically when you sweep lows, if you have a level right below it, you don't hold because there's so much liquidity here that it just blows right through it. So what I'm thinking is maybe a wick through this level down towards this 54 level. And I think it's going to bounce off the 54 before getting to the 51. And this level lines up perfectly with the daily pivot, which is at the 5160, I believe. What is that daily pivot? Yeah, 5160. It lines up perfectly with this level, 5160. So I think maybe a nuke downward, maybe a slight bounce off this point of origin, and then final target would be that pivot. Maybe a retest of the range low before nuking. But there's no reason to call for a bullish flip here. And even if you did have a bullish flip, it's going to be very difficult to get back above this level, around 65. You're kind of putting in like a head and shoulders, right? You have that shoulder, head, maybe another shoulder if you do pop up. And then if you break that and you actually do play out as a head and shoulders, you're going to 5160 pretty much guaranteed. But yeah, that's all the levels I'm watching right now. Your original plan was short 58, then 52. Oh, short to 58 and then 52. I gotcha. Yeah, if you opened your short anything above like 63, 64, you have a very good trade. I opened my shorts around 66. There was people who shorted around 67, 68 who had much better entries than I did. If you have anything above the 200 EMA on like the 1 hour, the 63, 64, you're looking really good. The daily trail predicted this beautifully. You had 3 sell signals on the daily trail. And that's basically where I started shorting. I should have added on to my short, to be honest. But it was really risky. It was already a 10x short. Looks like we're starting to sell off already. Yeah, JMA, I got back. I'm getting back into options. I took a few little stabs at it, and I wasn't able to be consistent, so I kept taking breaks. I built a new strategy now. I've been working on it for the past couple of weeks that I just started live testing last week. So tomorrow is going to be the second week of live testing. It's been going pretty well, man. I've shifted into selling. I remember back when we first started talking about options, you were teaching me about options. We were talking about like selling options and doing the premium thing. I actually really like it, man. I've been selling options more than buying options lately, and it plays into my style a lot more. I don't sell naked though. I'm doing credit spreads, so I trade spreads, And then I can't really talk about any more right now on stream, but if you want to talk about it later, whenever you're free, feel free to message me. But I got a whole strategy kind of around credit spreads that I've been working on. Last week, I took small losses on GameStop that wasn't really part of my strategy. I broke even on Roku. If I would have held it to expiration, it was 100%. Another trade on Roku, I took profit for 88%. I could have held it to 100. Snapchat also wasn't really a part of my strategy. It was about halfway there. Took a full loss on that, but I had a really high credit, so it was a very, very small loss. So of all the strategy trades, basically 80% to 100% profit so far. Very, very small sample size, though, so I need to keep testing it for this week and next week to see what I can do. You made a big trade on ENPH. Take a look at it. A lot of gaps on ENPH. I think I remember that back when you used to trade it before. Yeah, it tried to fill the gap here. It almost did. It did fill the gap if you consider the wicks. And then it failed downward. What was your trade on ENPH? You've been very cautious with current conditions. Yeah, that's why I'm doing credit spreads. So I'm not taking any big risk. I'm using probabilities. I'm using like high bids, low bids to get really good credits. Typically, I put myself in a position where even if I lose, the credit that I received is more than worth it. Like on the Snapchat trade, when I took the trade, it completely went against me. But when I took the trade, I had a 70% chance to win, and I got a credit for $65 per contract, which is typically, that's about double what I should have got for a 70% probability. What I've been noticing is with the credits, if it's a 70% probability, you're typically going to get it filled around $30, maybe $25, maybe $35 if you're lucky. But I got double that. And obviously I see why I got double that, because I got destroyed. You bought puts on Thursday when the current price was at the V-stop. Puts on Thursday. What was Thursday? Thursday was the 26th. Oh, so like right around the high. Yeah, it's really good. Am I following the 1/3 rule? I don't think so. Oh, collect 1/3? No, I'm not. So what I'm doing is, I can tell you a little bit on stream. Off stream, I can tell you more, but what I'm doing is I'm starting my strategy on Monday and Tuesday. So I'm looking for my entries on Monday and Tuesday. And then I have trades that I add on to those trades, which I call like adjustment trades. I'll take adjustment trades on like Wednesday and Thursday, and then I'll typically let them expire on Friday. I've already been assigned twice, but because I'm playing spreads, the assignment doesn't matter. Because I'm playing a spread, right? So I get assigned and I get exercised at the same time. It's basically letting it cash settle. Yeah, I'm covered, exactly. Yeah. It scared the shit out of me the first time I got assigned, because Robinhood is really stupid the way they do it. So it said I was assigned, right? Well, first it said if you don't have the money to buy 100 shares, we're going to assign you. Or sorry, if you don't have the money to buy 100 shares, we're going to close the trade for you. They didn't do that. They've never done that. It keeps saying that it's going to do that, and then it doesn't do it. It's probably because I'm covered. But then it assigned me. So what they do on Robinhood is they take away all your buying power until the assignment is fully played out. So I'll get assigned and then I'll get covered, right? So it will cancel each other out. But until that happens, which typically takes about a day, they take away like all of my buying power. So my buying power said like negative $800 the first time that I got assigned, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And I emailed them, and I was pissed off. And then I realized it's just the way that they do it. They take away all your buying power, they wait for it to exercise, and then once it's exercised, they give you your buying power back. Yeah, it's basically margin calling. They basically margin call me, and then it goes back to normal. So yeah, the first time it happened, I was really worried about it. I was like, "What the fuck? Do they think I owe them $1,000? Because I'm not paying them $1,000. They're out of their goddamn mind." I lost like less than $300. I think it was. It wasn't a lot, and it took my buying power down to like a negative 1,000. I was like, "There's no way this is right," because even if I got completely 100% loss on the trade, I would have only lost less than like $400, $500. There's no reason to take my buying power down 1,000. But yeah, they sorted it out. Switch to Tasty. I'm thinking about switching to TD Ameritrade because I finally took the time to like learn Thinkorswim, and I really like Thinkorswim. I liked Tasty Trade too, so if I ever do like build up my account, um, I probably will switch to Tasty Trade. But because I'm still testing out the strategy and I don't have a lot of funds in my options account, I'm still just playing around with Robinhood. But once I build it up on Robinhood to a certain amount, I'm gonna switch it over to probably TD Ameritrade or yeah, probably TD, and then probably switch it over to Tasty Trade. I love Tasty Trade. Like when you were showing me Tasty Trade, I like that the way you can build your trades and stuff in there. Their platform just isn't as robust as Thinkorswim. But what I could do is I could use Thinkorswim for like finding the trades and building the trades and whatnot, and then I could build them on Tasty Trade. Like I can actually go to their option chain on Tasty Trade and build it. He said I don't like their charting platform though. I could probably learn it if I put time into it. Yeah. So here, actually, I could pull mine up here. I can send you like a little screenshot of how I use it. I could show the stream as well. I don't think there's really anything on here that's I can't show. Let me log in real fast. So I'm trying to put like hard numbers, like hard like probabilities into my options trading, right? I'm tired of like picking random expirations and just kind of going about it randomly, right? So I'm trying to put hard numbers, hard data into my trading. So I've been using a lot of the options chain data on thinkorswim and like the probabilities analysis. Give me 1 second. I'll kind of show you what I look at here. I think it's loading the time and sales. It doesn't like that I'm streaming. Yeah, this is kind of the layout that I use. So I have like the news stuff on the top left. I've got my watch list. I've got a little chart with VWAP, volume, level 2 right below my chart. And then going over here is where I look at all the data. If it will let me scroll. So I have like the time and sales, which gives me like the biggest orders of the day. It shows me all the big orders coming in. And then you have all the different IV ranks and all the kind of options data here. And then if I go over to the analyze, I use this a lot too. They have like a little probabilities chart here where you can put in price levels and it will tell you the probabilities of it closing above or below that level or like in that range. So you can put in price levels and you can look through the probabilities of the chances that it can close in between those levels or below that level. This thing helps. This thing helps a lot in my style of trading. Hey, Keith, what's going on, man? You like Thinkorswim, but Tasty Trade is much easier to work with. Yeah, Tasty Trade is really its own. It's in its own world. Very user friendly. Fabio said it has got a Thinkorswim flash news about the current stock options information. Yeah, so like that thing on the top left, Fabio, that's like it's like a news thing. It'll tell you all the different news that's coming in. May said Thinkorswim is beast when it comes to all the data, without a doubt. Yeah, they've got so much different stuff you can do. Yeah, the guy who made Thinkorswim is the owner of Tasty. Yeah. Is that what you're still using? You still using Tasty? Tasty would help a lot with the style of trading that I'm doing, because the way that I build my trades is very weird. That's probably what I'll do. I'll probably stay on Robinhood for a little bit longer, build up my account, at least be profitable for like maybe a month, maybe 6 weeks or something, and then switch over to Tasty. Probably like a month. A month would probably be solid. I just want to get consistent with options. I want to do the same thing every week. I'm tired of jumping around and trying different strategies and picking random expirations and, you know what I mean, just getting caught out, changing it up every now and then. I want to be consistent, do the same thing. You got used to it. It's very easy to navigate. You don't really use all the features, but it's easy to read option chain. Yeah. Yeah, I love their option chain. I love their little buttons that you can use to like build different strategies. I love the way that it tells you like your max loss, your max profit, all that. The percentages of your like expiring in the money, out of the money. Thinkorswim does that too, but it's a little more complex. I think Trump has a press conference right now, but I'm going to avoid watching it on stream. I don't think you guys like that kind of stuff. Dima said, were you not profitable enough with Bitcoin? Why options? I was profitable enough with Bitcoin. You can see, like, in my the Discord, the difference between the Bitcoin trading is it's extremely stressful, and I can't continue to trade like that. I will lose my mind if I continue to trade the way that I was trading Bitcoin. My strategy was profitable. What I was doing was profitable. It was just a nightmare to trade. It felt like I was scratching my eyes out, pulling my hair out every week, trying to hit profits on Bitcoin. It was not easy. I did not like sleeping on trades. I'm tired of going to sleep on trades. I'm tired of the 24/7 market. It's a pain in the ass, man. I can make money doing it, but it is not healthy. And I would lose my mind if I continue to do that for another 6 months. Options trading allows me to get back into what I used to do. I used to stock trade a lot, and I loved the schedule of stock trading. I liked waking up and like trading for a few hours and then kind of just doing analysis and going about my day for the rest of the day. And then the market closes. And I can just live my life. I don't have to worry about watching my positions 24/7. I can go to bed and not have to worry about my entire position getting destroyed overnight. The 24/7, I liked it at first. I hate it now that I trade Bitcoin actively. For my style of trading, like I've told you guys since day one, I have to be at the PC to do my style of trading when it comes to Bitcoin. I never was able to develop my trading to be at a point where I could just not look at my trades and I could just continuously trade without being at the computer. Now, this week was a little different story. I took trades at 6,600 back on like Tuesday, and I didn't even look at them. I just kind of let them play out. That's very rare. I don't typically do that on a week-to-week basis. But yeah, mainly just the schedule, man. I can't stand the schedule. I want to get back into trading stocks, trading options. Options allows me to trade a normal schedule, and it allows me to trade with leverage so I can make a lot of money. JMA said, I went back to the original strategy, 70 delta, 30 plus days out. It has always worked. When I started getting greedy and deviated from the plan, that's when I got crushed every time. Yeah, so I'm doing a similar style, 70 delta. Um, I don't usually look at the delta. I look at the percentage being profitable, which is basically the same as the delta. But I typically look for like 65 to 75% profitable. I look for credit spreads that are they are high implied volatility. So I can look. Typically, what I found is if they're volatile stocks, Roku is a beautiful example. Typically, with Roku, you don't want to sell premium on because it's so volatile, right? So it will say that you have a 70% chance to win, but it's so volatile it could change in the next day or two, right? I found that what I can do with like Roku and stocks like Roku that are very volatile, I can use that volatility to get a much higher credit than I should be getting, if that makes sense. So, like I said earlier, with a 70% profitable trade when you're selling premium, you'll typically only get filled around $30 to $35, maybe $25 for your credit. But if you trade it a certain way, when the volatility is kind of going against you, you can get a much higher credit. I typically only take it if it's above a 60 credit. So if I can get a 60 credit, a 65, a 70, a 75, an 80, I'll take that trade. On my Roku trade that I did very well on, I got a fucking $80 credit per contract on it was like when I took the trade, it was a 70% profitable trade. When it got filled, it was probably closer to like 60% to 55%, because it gapped up so hard. But I got a $80 credit for a $90 spread. So even though it went against me a little bit, I was only risking $20 per contract. You see what I'm saying? So if you get a really good fill on your premium, you can take more risk. Because I had a 4-to-1 credit. I was getting $80 per contract. I was only risking $20 per contract. And my spread was pretty damn close to the current price. It was a beautiful trade. It was really scary until that final day. That Friday finally got me below my strike. But it was a fantastic credit. Basically, what I'm saying is if you can get a good credit for a high probability trade, you're looking really good. That's one of the key things to my strategy. High probability, get a much higher credit than you should be able to get. And then there's other little things that I do to make it better. How do you measure the volatility? Do you use historical volatility on TradingView? No. So I use implied volatility on Thinkorswim on the options chain. So I look at implied volatility and I look at the implied volatility rank. What I've been looking for lately is anything above like 70 to 90% implied volatility is what I'm looking at. When I took the Roku trade, it was at like 120%, so it was really good. The basics of options are you want to buy when implied volatility is low, you want to sell when implied volatility is high. So I look for high implied volatility, which is basically everything nowadays because the volatility in the markets is extremely high right now. So you don't even really have to look around too much. Everything is volatile right now. But I look for high implied volatility, and then I look for tight spreads. I don't want to trade anything with like wide spreads. Roku has kind of wide spreads, but it's not untradeable. I really wanted to trade Planet Fitness, but the spreads on Planet Fitness are disgusting. So even though I wanted to short this, I can't short it. It's untradeable. The options are untradeable. You would have to trade this on stocks. You couldn't trade this on options. But I think Planet Fitness, anywhere from like 50 to 55 is a pretty good short because all of their stores are closed. All the gyms are closed, basically around America. They're making zero revenue right now, and they're pumping. So anything around 50, maybe even 60, I think is a good short on Planet Fitness. What are your thoughts on long-term open 1x on Google? Anything, see, here's the thing, man. Anything that you're looking long-term, anything over like 3-5 years, like I said before, I don't want to say like guaranteed. Like it's obviously not guaranteed. This could be a long-term bear market. But if we're looking long-term, like 5 years out, everything is going to go back up, man. Like historically speaking, the average bear market, if this is an average bear market or even slightly worse than an average bear market, all of these big blue chip stocks are going to go back up. But should you start buying them now? That's a question you're going to have to ask yourself. But like, do I think that Google is going to be less than it is today in 5 years? I don't think so. I think 5 years from now, Google's going to be definitely more than what it is right now. Like, look at Google historically. It's survived every bear market since its inception. You've only had like 2 bear markets. One major bear market was in 2008. But like I said, man, it's hard to say because if you look at all these big stocks, Apple, Google, Disney, Costco, Walmart, all these big name stocks, Johnson and Johnson, none of them have like major downtrends, right? They all look like this. So this could be the one time where we start entering that downtrend, you know what I mean? So do you want to get caught in the first ever like downtrend on these markets? I think what I'll say is if all these big blue chip stocks that I just mentioned and other big ones, if they all start entering big downtrends, we have bigger things to worry about than our stock price. Long story short, I think if you buy anything now and you hold it for 3 to 5 years, historically speaking, you'll do okay. This is I wouldn't say once in a lifetime, but this is a very, very rare situation that we are currently in. Even during 9/11, even during the financial crisis in 2008, 2009, we did not see the kind of lockdowns that we are seeing across the globe. Economies are being shut down right now. Entire economies are being shut down. So, to say that the current market structure is going to look like the previous market structure, that's a hard bet. That's a very hard bet. I'm not going shopping until SPY gets below 200. I think SPY will see sub 200. I don't know when it will, but I think it's inevitable at this point. I think SPY will see sub 200. I think it's going to see sub 200 in probably the next 4 to 5 months, maybe even sooner, probably the next 2 months, depending on how bad the market gets. That's when I'm looking to go shopping. I'm looking to go shopping when SPY is like 180 to 200, 210, once we recover. I'm definitely not looking to go shopping right now. Maybe short-term shopping, buy the dip, sell the bounce. But like I said, man, the current market structure, or sorry, the current pandemic that we are seeing, the current economy, the strains on economy that we're seeing, you can't compare it to like anything in my lifetime. There is nothing in my lifetime that you can compare what we are currently seeing. Dima said, just wanted to say, if they go down, then dollar as a currency is in trouble. Fiscal policy is crazy nowadays. They just expand the existing credit. It can't go forever. The thing, the reason that it's really scary what like the United States does is they print trillions of dollars, right? Which you would think would cause inflation, which would cause the dollar to get destroyed, right? But what we're seeing is the dollar is not seeing strains of inflation because all the other countries around the world rely so heavily on the dollar, right? So because the other economies of the world rely so heavily on the dollar, America can kind of just fucking print money and it doesn't greatly affect their dollar the way it should, right? So like if you look at USD, JPY, people use this as a very strong indication of how the dollar is doing. It's not doing that bad. If you look at USD Euro, it's not doing that bad. Now we had a big sell-off, but we had a big climb earlier. So like on a long time scale, these currencies are not doing bad. What's the Canadian dollar? CAD? You see what I mean? Like other countries rely heavily on the dollar. Now I'm not a forex trader, so I can't speak any further than that. If you talk to a forex trader, they could give you more of a deeper analysis on that. But from what I've seen, what I've read, because the other economies of the world rely so heavily on the dollar, the government and the Fed can get away with doing things that typically would cause a lot of inflation if it was another country or another currency. Now, for sure, they are not invincible. America will see hyperinflation probably in my lifetime because of all the shit that the Fed and the government get away with. It's not going to go on forever. Is it going to happen during this crash? It's hard to say, but I definitely think it's coming. America and the Fed cannot get away with what they're doing for decades to come. You know what I mean? They can't keep doing it. Our debt is skyrocketing. It's a number that's not even fathomable. The number is so astronomical, you can't even put it into tangible goods. You know what I mean? Fabio said, we know that selling volatility is stronger than buying volatility, especially in the index markets. What do you think about commodities, Forex? I have no idea about volatility in those markets like buying and selling. I'm only talking about it in sense of credits, like in sense of premiums on options. Selling high volatility on options is what you want to do. You want to buy low volatility on options. Because the way the options work, when volatility goes up, if you're a buyer, you make money. If the volatility goes down, when you're a seller, you make money. Dima said, imagine the virus was a huge plan of China to destabilize the U.S. economy, not paranoid. Yeah, we've talked about that, like the conspiracies behind it. It's hard to talk about that stuff without like seeing actual backing. But no, I've definitely looked into it. But all right, guys, I gotta go. I'm gonna get some food. I'm starving. Appreciate you guys being here. We still have our discounts going on. If you look at the top of the screen, we have 50% off Discord and 15% off the indicators. I had the summary of markets released earlier today around 3 p.m. So if you guys didn't take a look at that, please go look at it. We are 4 for 4 on everything that we predicted in that write-up. I predicted SPY would go down, Bitcoin would go down, gold would go up, oil would go down. 4 for 4. Make sure you guys go look at that write-up. Yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Appreciate you guys being here. I will be trading tomorrow live in the Discord if you guys are in the Discord, and I'll be streaming on Tuesday as well. So I'll see you guys then. Peace. You guys have a good day, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. Peace out, guys.